So we're going to compare ratios, rates, and fractions, talk a little about them, make sure we have an understanding of what they are. So what they're used for is comparing quantities. In the case of ratios, we're comparing quantities with the same units. So our example here, we're comparing the number of aces in a deck of cards to the number of face cards. So in a standard deck, you would find yourself with 4 aces, and in face cards, which are jacks, queens, and kings, face cards, there are a total of 12 of those. So the ratio comparing those is 4, and we use this colon here, the 2 dots, so 4 to 12. So the ratio of aces to face cards is 4 to 12. We just say 4 to 12, we don't say 4 cards to 12 cards, because with ratios we're just comparing the same units and we only use the 2 numbers. So cooking, you might see a recipe that calls for flour being added 2 to 1 to water. So you add 2 flour to 1 water. Well, what units? Well, depending on the size of the thing that you're making, you could use cups to cups, or cups to, tablespoons to tablespoons. But you cannot use cups to tablespoons because we don't have the units listed there. So no units with ratios. Now when you're working with ratios, you can simplify them just like fractions by finding the greatest common factor and dividing that out. So in the case of 4 to 12 here, are aces to face cards, well, both of those numbers have a divisor of 4. 4 can be divided by 4, and 12 can be divided by 4. When we divide both numbers by 4, 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So the ratio of aces to face cards is 1 to 3. Now, ratios can also be converted to fractions, but it's not just by sticking one number on top of the other. So we can't just put 4 over 12 down as our fraction. Fractions talk about the part of the whole. So in this case, what we do is we take the part that we want, the value you want, and you put it over the total of all the values. So in the case of our aces to, and if we count them as high cards, jack, queen, king, and aces are high cards, what fraction are the aces? Well, it's not 4 to 12, it's 4 aces to how many total high cards do we have? Well, we got the 12 face cards and the 4 aces, so it's 4 to 16 in total, which would simplify down both of those numbers being divisible by 4 would give us 1 to 4. So the ratio of aces to face cards is 1 to 3, but the fraction of aces in those high card sets is 1 to 4. Now, on top of fractions and ratios, we can also use the unit of comparison called the unit rate. And the unit rate compares different units of measure. So whenever we're talking about a rate, we're talking about something to something. It could be meters per second, miles per hour, liters per kilometer, 100 kilometers might be one you'll see on your car. Dollars per hour, and when you're getting paid. So things like that are rates, and they compare those 2 different values. Now normally we'll use a unit rate when we're talking about rates, and so we take a comparison and we compare it to a 1 in the second term. So in this case here, we have a deck of cards being sold for $75 per case of 25. So we want the price per deck. So if we want the price per deck, per meaning divide, and so this is, most cases are pretty self-explanatory. Take your price here, divide it by the decks. So there's a case of 25 decks, so the price per deck is, so we're going to do 75 is our price per 25 decks. So when we divide 75 by 25 here, what we end up with is $3 per deck. So the price per deck is $3. So we're dividing this by this. Whatever comes first goes on the top of your division, and whatever comes second goes on the bottom of your division. So 75 divided by 25, which got us our $3 per deck.